Hello, and welcome to Soft Human Voice. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you remember your source and divine connection. You are not alone. You are loved. You are wise and intuitive, and you have more co-creative power than you think. Let's remember this together. So welcome to another episode. I am Jessica Shepard. I'm an astrologer, intuitive guide, and author of 5 books and counting, including my very first A Love Alchemist notebook, Magical Secrets for Drawing Your True Love into Your Life. I also write soft human words on Substack, and I do soft human movement on Substack as well, which is an energy management, devoted to energy management there. We do Qigong together. So soft human voice, words, movement, there are a lot of different ways to soften into yourself and to just enjoy being in a sensitive body, which is part of what I feel like I'm learning in this lifetime. And that's what our episode is going to touch on, is what we can do to help ourselves through being in a body when our body experiences pain or we're in a health crisis, when we want some kind of healing to happen. And as I said in our intro, I believe that we have more co-creative power to influence just about everything in our life than we tap into. And today's guest is Deborah Martin. And Deborah is a healer, world-renowned intuitive healer, and a 3-time near-death experiencer and a cancer survivor, whose life's work is to help people research the miraculous love and healing power of God. An international research lab-certified medium with the Windbridge Research Center, she has developed a unique healing technique that unites mediumship and energy healing in a way not found anywhere else. Featured on A&E documentaries, Hay House Radio, and numerous other cool places. She is also the author of 6 books, including Proof of Miracles. And Deborah does private sessions. She does global group healings, and she also offers divinely guided meditations. And you can find out more about Deborah and her work through deborahmartinhealer.com. Or you can just listen into our cool podcast today. And this is Deborah. Hello, Deborah.
I have goosebumps with everything you just said. I'm so excited about this episode.
Yay.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm so excited to have Deborah back again because this is our second podcast, and our first one was just so moving and so helpful. I got some really wonderful feedback from that, Deborah. So, but that's not why I invited you back. I invited you back because we have a good time together.
Well, I just find our conversations are so organic, and that's what I love about it. Because we can just share some of our things that we've learned along the way, these little tools or tidbits that we can share with others. And it's a conversation that not always do we get to express on a platform like this. So I thank you for that.
Oh, that's awesome. It's true, because usually, like, I imagine for you, when you're in your calling, you're actually doing the work. And that's a very private and inward space. So to be able to talk about it with you is, it's a gift to all of us. And so I'm really excited to hear more about that. And today we're planning on talking about, really like healing from the inside out, from the perspective of being a healer. You know, each of us have had healing journeys. I mean, that's kind of, to me, what it means to be a true healer. We step into the calling when we're called to do it for ourselves.
Absolutely. And we're also human. So, we're having a human experience, and there's a lot of things going on in our lives too. Mm-hmm. Some people look at us like, oh, everything's just perfect all the time, and it's not. And so we have to be able to place that aside and really ground ourselves. And so one of the things what I would say for people going through issues, like there's going to be things that happen, whether it's stress with job, whether it's stress in the world, whether a loved one's sick, someone passes, whatever that is. I think what's really important is to be present with yourself. Notice those feelings, right? Notice that energy and give yourself grace. Sometimes we don't feel like, I know I am so grateful for everything I have, but sometimes I don't feel grateful. Right. And I just did a meditation on that. And I was like, I think we have to give ourselves grace to breathe and be free from it. That it's okay if we don't want to feel that way. It's okay if we want to sit and cry for a few minutes. It's like a toddler. They have their tantrum. They get it all out. We have to do what it takes for us. And I think it's important that we share some of those modalities that we have and what we've learned, what spirit has taught us, what we've learned in healing others, and some of the things that we've learned even going through the journey to become who we are, the healers that we are. But I really think it's important to acknowledge those emotions, be present with yourself. Like I said, have grace. And breathing is so important. That's the gift God gave us, the breath of life. And we can use that as an everyday tool. So whether you're at work, whether you're in rush hour, whether you're so frustrated because everything seems to be going wrong, stop and breathe. That's something we can all do. We don't have to go buy anything to do it.
So I was talking with Deborah before we got on this live recording, and I asked if it would be okay if we did a little practice. And I think that's a great segue. That just take about 5 minutes and breathe with us. And I'll lead you through kind of some touchstones in your body and some sensations to tune into and some awareness to place your awareness on. And Deborah is going to amplify that with her own energy, because what happens when two healers get on the same call?
Yes.
It can happen. Yeah. So let's see if we can have a moment of grounded magic through being in our bodies and our breath. So I invite our listeners to not be driving, to sit, be seated, and to close your eyes and to feel your body being supported. And to notice where your breath is in your body. Is it high? Is it in your belly? And just by bringing awareness and noticing, not trying to change it, you're going to change it. So notice how your breath is already deepening. And just bring your consciousness to your bum, sitting on your chair, on your sofa, and feeling kind of that coziness of being in this root area of your body. Almost like a cat settling in to a cozy little spot in the sun. As you breathe and become aware of that breath again. And maybe inviting in the awareness of your diaphragm as you breathe in your belly. And as you inhale, it expands, and as you exhale, it contracts. And as you inhale, belly opens up, and as you exhale, the belly softens and releases. And as you inhale, imagine your next inhale, the wings of a butterfly opening up. And as you exhale, closing those wings and tucking inward. As you inhale, letting those wings go wider. And as you exhale, inward and releasing. Just imagining your diaphragm as a beautiful butterfly soaring on your breath. Opening and closing. Slowing down. And softening. And as we draw this time to a close, this little breath of a meditation, just invite anything you no longer want to hold on to or keep with you, anything from your day or your week. On your next exhale, just let it travel all the way down your legs, knees, feet, and into the earth. And then when you're ready, say thank you to yourself for taking this moment, for practicing such amazing self-care and love. And come back into this grounded space of presence.
That was beautiful. I have to say, when you first began, I could feel the energy that was being given to all of us. But I've never, I've done thousands of healings before. My whole mouth here along the lip was vibrating, and my eyes were closed, and I could feel the movement of my mouth going do 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 do.
Oh my goodness!
All I kept thinking was, for anyone out there that is afraid to use their voice or hasn't spoken the truth, that this was being healed. But it was so undeniable. And then when anytime you went to different spots of the body, I was very in tune before you got there. It was already feeling it. So for listeners that have that same feeling, there's no right or wrong way. You might not have felt anything. You still received. But for me to share what I received here on this platform with you, and how we were really united as one, is just beautiful. That how energy travels and how effortless it is, and how much we really have available to us. So thank you for putting that grounding in for all of us to feel before we start sharing.
You're so welcome. And I'm so excited to talk with you that, I was feeling my own heart excitement around this. But I was also remembering that yesterday when I connected and did this practice, the same imagery, it was actually a moth, not a butterfly. And you came into that. And I was like, whoa, that is so cool. And then this morning, interesting, you were talking about feeling this around your mouth. I had very strong sensations of honey in my mouth this morning. And I was working on releasing pain and tension in my body, which we're going to talk about. And the moment I started feeling honey, like if you're sensory or if you're empathic, and I'm saying the words and you're probably already like, honey is in my mouth. A lot of us have that ability to feel that pretty easily. So it was just the softest, sweetest, most pleasant. It was really gentle. And it just relaxed my whole body entirely. So when you mentioned that whole mouth feel, I wonder if there's something in the field around that.
I think so. It probably, because I'm interpreting what I'm seeing and feeling, right?
Yeah.
But for you to acknowledge, like, hey, wait a minute, I was being worked on here, earlier. Mm-hmm. It's like spirit validating what was done for you. Mm-hmm. Through what I felt. And honey, to me, like, we use honey for healing. We put it in our tea. And so for you to taste that, that's another way of spirit saying, you're being healed, you're being soothed, you're being touched. And we can talk about those type of things. Like we might even not know why this is causing that issue, right? Mm-hmm. And so we can go into, like, when I go into healings, sometimes there's past traumas that we don't even realize that we held. Maybe it was from a childhood. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's people that have been abused, right? And they're just like, I'm going to set that aside. I moved on from it. I feel like I healed from it, but there might be a seed still there. Or even ancestral, right? We could be carrying their stuff because it's dropped down. And so when I look at these things, I try to tell people to say, how is it serving you to hold this? Right? Ask yourself, like, because some of us know why it's there. Like, mm-hmm. I don't really want to deal with it because if I do, I might crumble. So I think I'll just be strong. And so if that's the way you want to do it, just listen to Jessica, how she was saying, drop it, let it come out of your feet without having to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Surrender it, let it go. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes we have to feel to heal and we have to, pull it out. But I think by us having to feel to heal, we just have to recognize what that is that we're feeling and ask the question, how is this serving me? So let's say it was abuse. Mm-hmm. Hand it back over. Quit being, don't allow yourself to be their victim anymore. Say, you know what? Yeah, that happened to me and I'm upset they did that to me, but I no longer want it. So here, actually physically see yourself handing them the papers. Mm-hmm. This is what I've been dealing with, so that you can, like you said, just let it go. And I think it's important too, that sometimes we're on this journey and we look at our past saying, look at where I am now. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, or, I failed at this. Why did I wait so long to notice I was failing? Mm-hmm. I don't believe anything's a failure. I believe those are all lessons for us. So if we can kind of look at the different scenarios and stop going to the past, because we can't really fix that, ask how's it serving us, how we want to move forward, and allow yourself to say, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Right? It's okay. And don't feel guilty. Just say, oh my gosh, I learned from it. I'm not going to repeat that again. And
no, I'm not.
or, it's just like people, I just don't like the word failure because I really feel we digest that. We feel hurt. We don't feel enough. And I want people to know, like, there is there isn't anything such as failure. It's just, we might look at it that, oh, I failed this. I could have done better, and I'm burping. So that's just the energy shifting in me.
Yeah.
But don't be so hard on yourself. That's what I want to say, is just pay attention to how you're feeling, how you're really feeling. And then what can you do? What can you do to help yourself once you drop those feelings? What can we do to help ourselves? And, I've watched.
You don't want to make them worse by telling ourselves the story, like you're saying, the story of the past, the story of I could have done different, the story of even like something as subtle as what's wrong with me. It's something I've written about recently, like how these stories can exacerbate and make the problem worse.
They create a picture, an image, and then we become that.
Correct.
Right. And so I remember once in a healing, this person didn't have much self-worth. Mm-hmm. And it was breaking my heart because I could just feel it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you not even see how beautiful you are on the inside and the outside? Couldn't see it. So God had said to her, like, I know what has been done to you, but as long as you keep holding it, it's not serving you, right? But if a person has a problem by saying you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're not tall enough, you're not thin enough, you're not, smart enough, whatever that may be, that's a them problem. And so just say, why don't you tell God, because he created me? Mm-hmm. And I just love that, because it was like, yeah, could you see that person telling God, like, you didn't create that person too good.
Great.
So we're all unique in our own way, and we need to embrace those uniqueness, because there's only one of us. But I think we should talk about the modalities that we can do to help these different issues. And I know I've watched you do your Qigong. That was, and how that brings so much, right?
Yeah. And I think I just want to just underscore what you've just said, though, about as long as we're thinking these things,
right,
it's like going to be a block to healing. So if we start talking to you about modalities and you're still thinking these things, go back to the think. In my experience, go back to correcting that. Any thought that says you're not enough, any thought that says you're wrong, any thought that you're really making you into something more solid is what's happening. As you pointed out, you're making this thing that you don't want to be true because it's not true into something that you're carrying around with you now. And so if I were doing Qigong and I had these types of thoughts, I wouldn't be able to do Qigong and experience the benefits of Qigong. So I just want to name that before we go further.
I think that's really important that you said that, because you're right. And it goes back to being aware of what we're feeling and changing those thoughts, the negative to the positive. Because sometimes even the what ifs, all the what ifs, right? We spiral into what ifs. It's the same thing.
It creates an energy field. What if creates this energy field of anxiety
and fear,
but then set it a different way. It's so funny how you can work with this. Like, what if I'm not enough? Or what if I am enough? Oh my goodness. Do you feel how the shift in energy just occur, like just by me speaking that? I guess we're working with our voice today, Deborah. Because I'm like, what if I'm not enough? What if I want enough? And I just felt goosebumps. Like I have goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
So just by working with that, your voice, by, becoming aware of your thoughts, which create your feelings. That's what we're talking about at this moment. We're not talking about energies that are creating these swaths of feelings that aren't yours. Talking about, just to be very specific, thoughts that you're having that are, creating these feelings that are causing you problems. But yeah, just changing the thought, even by one word, can actually shift your energy.
What I picked up on when you said that is, what if you voiced it out loud and heard yourself say it?
Okay.
Because most of the time we hear it in our mind, and we're saying it in our mind, or we're just feeling that way about ourselves, right? What if we voiced that? We'd actually hear it and go, and then ask yourself, what did you just say and how did that make you feel?
Yeah. So let's try that. Let's be like, okay, so there's so much that's wrong with the world right now. Let's just feel into that. And now I don't have to wait too long to feel like, what if there's nothing wrong with the world right now?
I went from anxiety to peace.
Instant.
And so which one do you want to hold for the day? It's your choice.
I love it. I just got more goosebumps.
Me too. I'm getting them too. Should have brought a blanket. You want to share?
Here you go.
Yeah. I also I wrote a book on cancer. It's called Doctors, Faith, and Courage. And I think it's important too that when you're going through an illness, right? And I didn't know my outcome. And so one of the things I learned was your outcome's good either way. And if you just stand in that truth, it's just like, oh, I can breathe. The outcome's good either way. But I learned through cancer to listen to my body. And I think even if you don't have cancer or you don't have an illness, still listen to your body. Like you said, we could have anxiety just by what we're feeling in the world. What are we listening to? Listen to how your body's reacting, how it's feeling. So with cancer, I listened to it. I actually talked to it. Mm-hmm. And I became, I used to call it my beast. And I was like, okay, beast, what are we doing today? Because you can't see it. Cancer's not something you can see, right? But now I'm going to talk to those cells. I'm frustrated. I'm having a really, pardon my language, shitty day. And I'm having it. You can't deny how bad I feel.
Right.
And yet I need to listen to my body. You're allowed to have that shitty day. And then I talked to it and said, you know what? I still love you. And instead of fighting it, because fighting, I believe, causes resistance, I sent love to my body the entire time.
Yeah.
And even to the cancer, I started talking like, what are you here to teach me? Why are you here? What do you want me to learn? And I didn't know right away. It took me till I was finished with it to really see the whole picture. Yeah. But at the end, I did have many blessings that came out of it. And I was able to see the beauty in my beast. And so I do write prayers and guidance for anybody that's going through a medical in that book, because I felt like the journey I went through could be somebody else's journey too. Follow that protocol. But I think the most important is to honor ourselves with how we feel. So many times we feel like we have this big event that we're supposed to go to, but we come down with, we're not feeling well, but we're feeling guilty because we're going to let everybody else down. Or I made this special dessert to take, and I'm going to now have FOMO because I don't get to go, but I don't feel well. Please honor yourself. It's okay. They're going to get over it. They're still going to have a good time, and you're going to feel better if you take care of yourself. So I just think it's really important to pay attention.
It's like so many threads in what you just said. I'm like, which one do I pick up?
All of them.
All of them. Yes. Okay. First, stop shaming yourself for your feelings. Stop denying your feelings. And that's different again from thoughts, right? Because, there's a part of us, I think, that obviously becoming aware of our thoughts and how they're creating our feelings and our energies and our experience. But then there's also, this very human, animal, however you want to look at it, part of our existence that is just having these sensations and feelings rise up and fall away, rise up and fall away. And that's a part of the invitation to awareness and to presence too. And one of my favorite kind of little phrases, and I was listening to you talk about cancer too, and this topic is it's not what I experience, but how I hold it, how I hold the experience. Almost like, the beast, if somebody handed you a beast, a little baby beast, the cancer, well, how am I going to hold this? How am I going to hold this? Am I going to hold this situation and myself with love and compassion and grace? Am I going to try and be as honest and real with myself when I'm having a bad day as possible and give myself the grace of falling apart? And then am I going to notice when I'm having, thoughts that are like, this is really shitty, and let myself have the thoughts for 2 minutes and then move on to something else, right? There are different ways of working with these things.
I think the biggest thing was, no matter what was happening, I always tried to walk with an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
So even, it's like, okay, you're not feeling well. Happened to me on Super Bowl Sunday. Oh, so excited to be with friends. And I just, my tummy was off. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to stay home. But I felt like I needed to. For some reason, I needed to just pay attention. So I was having that whole FOMO. I'm going to miss out. I want to go. Oh my gosh, I looked up, the whole thing. But when you sit back and then say, I wonder why I'm supposed to stay home. I'm supposed to stay home. What ended up happening is my son called me. I hadn't talked to him for a while. He travels everywhere. And he was doing a long drive. And I was able to have that time to talk 2 hours with him. Now, I wouldn't have known that. And so there was a blessing that came out of it, even though I was on the couch, right? So little things happen, and you have to be aware of the blessings that come through in these little moments. And go, that's why. Okay.
I find that helps us better listen inward when we self-validate. So for instance, your ego is probably like, oh, something's being taken away. I don't really like that. I wanted to go do this thing. But then you had this wonderful experience of this conversation you wouldn't have otherwise had. Mm-hmm. And then you validate that, or you celebrate it, whatever kind of language you want to do. It kind of, I don't know, to me, it kind of turns up the volume on intuition.
It raised the vibration.
Yeah.
I was like, even though I felt horrible, I'm now really happy in my space that I chose to be in.
And we can call it a lot of different things, but I would call it listening to your soul. You listen to your soul rather than the conditioning or, the thoughts or whatever. You listen to your soul. Your soul had something better for you in mind, and you waited for that to happen. And then it did. And then you're like, high fives. And then I find that when you do that again, the next time this kind of the situation arises where plans change and something feels like something's taken away from you or you're disappointed, you remember. And then it just keeps elevating you.
That's exactly what happened, because I was in that moment of, I don't want to let everybody else down. But then, like you said, as this happens a lot, you start to be like, okay, there's a reason for this. Yeah. I'm supposed to be right here. I didn't know what it was. And then when it happened, you're right. My vibration was up. I was like, I'm so glad I was present in this moment and that I followed my gut. Just stay put and honor myself. It's okay to honor yourself and not feel guilty.
It's so hard for so many people, right?
Well, some of us are people pleasers.
Yep.
Right. And even as healers, we're very sensitive and we're trying to help everybody, but we have to take care of ourselves too. Yep. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. I think that another way of grounding ourselves. Let's go there, because you ground yourself with your qigong. You ground yourself with being outside. A couple of things that I ground myself with is also being outside, just with breath or just being present in the moment, listening to the birds. But meditation, I really enjoy. If I feel like, okay, I just need to quiet the mind, I'm going to go into meditation, whether I'm listening to someone's meditation or whether I'm just being. It's okay to allow yourself to just be.
Yep.
And I do want to let other people know, though, I make a free monthly meditation that I give out in my newsletter. And it always kind of follows Spirit's nudge. Like, what's going on that people need right now? And so these are all made up by Spirit. It might be clarity, might be grounding, might be whatever it is. This month's was, what do you do when you don't feel gratitude, when it's out of reach? And that was the meditation, because I actually went searching for it. Like, there's a lot of gratitude meditations. Be grateful for this. Well, I already know that, but I'm not grateful right now. So what does it do? I really was searching. I'm like, I'm having this moment. I'm having this human experience. And so, but by searching, it told me, like, this is needed, right? I said, okay, Spirit, let's work on it. And we worked on it. And it was basically, it's okay not to feel gratitude. So why don't we embrace ourselves with a hug?
So right when you said that, I have an oracle deck, and the card that came up in my mind was permission, which is you have permission to feel exactly how you feel. Right?
100%. And I think that all comes down to you're healing yourself. You're paying attention to your body. You're paying attention to how you feel. You're honoring yourself. You're walking through grace. You're having your human experience, whether you want to have a tantrum or not. You're breathing through things. You're doing, what is it? Ask yourself, what is it that grounds you? Is it painting? Is it coloring? Is it walking? Is it qigong? Is it meditation? There's no right or wrong way, but there's so much out there for you.
Yeah. And like making the decision, like, that seems to be a lot. And maybe you see this in your clients, and it's what I used to see when I was seeing clients one-on-one, is a lack of decisiveness, or not making it's like almost like giving yourself permission to make a decision differently, to go for something that makes you feel good and grounded. And that just opens doors immediately. But I've found that so many people don't even take that initial inkling to do that. And
I think because it's too hard, or that it's like something they're not familiar with, so they're not really sure what it should feel like. How do I meditate? What is it, or meditation is going to take too much time. I don't have that much time. That's why it's like, well, you have time to breathe. Just sit and be quiet your mind and breathe. And that's why I really think it's important that whether they want to listen to a meditation or join your qigong, these are services to try. And if it feels good, okay, this is working for me. And if it isn't for you, it's okay. You'll find something else. But don't, like you said, don't close those doors. Keep searching, because once you find something, your body's going to go, that feels good.
Let's keep doing that one, please. That one works for me. And we're all different. We all you like meditation. I like energy practices. And we all just have our slightly different ways. But I was wondering if you could tell us on that note about, because we have these ideas of, well, I've had this. When I started working with my energy, I thought it's supposed to feel a certain way, and I wasn't feeling that way, right? But I would notice that I felt something, and I definitely felt better than when I started, right? And so I kind of went on faith for a while that something was going to happen if I even felt this much better, just incrementally a little bit better. So in your journey with your own self-healing, I I know that you use prayer. I know that you probably also use doctors, hopefully.
Yes, I use every tool in my toolbox. Now, some people, they might not want to use doctors. Some people may not want to use energy healing. And I was told, use everything in your toolbox. It's created for you. So do what feels right for you, right? And because there's no right or wrong way. So I think what I try to tell my clients when they come for a healing session, and they're remote, so they're in their sacred space, could be anywhere in the world. I'm in mine. We're not on Zoom. I go in with their picture. I might know something that they're dealing with, might not know anything at all. And I'm going to feel, I'm going to hear, I'm going to voice, I'm going to go through the whole shebang. And I'm recording it, and then I'm sending it to them. And sometimes I'll see spiritual surgeons in the room. Sometimes I'll see loved ones come in the room. Sometimes we'll go meet with loved ones. Sometimes we have to face some of the trauma that we've went through, and I'm remembering the trauma. So I'm voicing it, and I know nothing about you. And then you now are feeling on your end. And sometimes they're exactly the same feelings. I had one lady where I'm going to throw up, and she was throwing up at that time. So it just shows you how we can become one with energy and how energy travels. And the other beautiful thing is then when you listen to it, you're able to now go, oh my gosh, she was feeling the same thing I was feeling. Or how does she know some of these things that I'm dealing with that I even forgot about in my childhood or X, Y, and Z. And it's really miraculous. But I always say, I think what's really important, whether you're going to a medium for a reading, whether you're coming anywhere for a healing, place it out there. Whether you're doing it to send me exactly what you want healed, or you're placing your intention out, then release it. Because when we go into sessions with expectations, you're waiting for that to happen. I want to feel this way. I'm looking for something. That's blocking it. Causing those expectations, you are limiting what you could really be feeling. You're putting a shield up. And so I always say, just remove your humanness aside. Just check it over here and be open for that hour. Feel what you feel. And if some people, like one of my greatest healings, he was healed of Hodgkin's lymphoma of the brain and the spine. He had a 3% chance of survival with the most intense chemo and radiation. And he went for, a spinal tap and a brain scan. 5 days after his healing, it was completely gone. And they're like, something went wrong. So he said, well, I'll let you do the test again. And it was completely gone. Now he came in going, I'm a scientist. I have no idea. He was just like, I'll be an open book. But he had no expectations. And then afterwards, like, why me? Right? And so it's beautiful to walk in with no expectations. That's what I was saying with my cancer. When I heard you're going to be fine either way, it removed all the expectations. What should I be feeling? What should I be hearing? What should I be doing? And I just loved my body. And I noticed what was very interesting, Jessica, is I noticed that during my cancer journey, all of the things that used to be really important, or like, would think about, that all washed away. I was more open, more present during that time. And I was like, okay, I'm receiving chemo. How's that going to interfere with energy and healing? It didn't interfere at all. In fact, I felt almost more heightened because I was really in tune with my relationship with God, because I was now connecting every day for myself, right? And so that's what worked for me is, okay, here's what I'm dealing with. I would take my pills. I'd have 18 pills a day. Plus I'd have radiation, and I've had infusions, but I would bless them. Anytime I get infused, I say, wait, I got to bless this medicine, asking God to alter it for me, for my body. Now, that didn't mean that I wasn't going to feel it. In my mind, I was hoping like, okay, that's going to lessen some of the symptoms. But sometimes we have to have those symptoms to heal us. So I didn't have any expectations. And so healings can happen emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I mean, I did another healing on a woman that had cancer, and she thought it was completely healed. She had 3 months she had 3 months to live. And she's like, I know my cancer's gone. Well, what happened was her emotional pain was brought up from her childhood. She faced it and she dumped it. And so now she was free from all this heaviness. And she felt great, but she still passed. And before she passed, she said, I received the greatest gift. I received what I've been holding on to so I can pass without any baggage. I can be free. And I was like, that's so huge because, she came for the cancer.
That is so beautiful. I mean, that is like my deepest wish for myself is to just liberate the whole way through my life so that by the time I'm done, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing more to do here.
Nothing that's hanging. There's no baggage. Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm like, oh, okay, here we are.
I didn't need to repeat it to learn it.
Oh, I do also feel that sometimes the greatest healing is death.
Give us the greatest blessings. And so, like I said, her healing, I was putting into God's hands. Okay. She has X, Y, and Z cancer, bile cancer she had. And at the same time, God, I don't want to limit it. So we want to heal everything and all, but also address this. So when we go into the healing, I'm open to everything, not knowing what's going to come through. Sometimes it's like watching a movie and you get to see it and you're like, you get done and go, whoa, I got to send that across the world. I hope that's correct, but how could it not be? It's not my movie, right? Yeah. I didn't create that. So it just shows you that what she wanted, she received in a different form. Miracles come in different forms. Yeah. So it was very magical, and everybody's different. Some people will heal in certain ways. Some people will not receive, and but receive maybe mentally something.
And I find that it's just so fascinating that, being human, the more you think you know, the less you actually do know. That we can think that we know what healing somebody else needs to receive, but that may not be true for them. And we may be seeing something that's very real, that does look unhealed, but maybe they're here to have that unhealed experience for a lifetime. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of is, I guess when I was younger, I used to feel like, I don't even know if I really felt this way, because this may be more of a cultural conditioning that comes with being a healer, that like, if you just, that like, you can basically heal anything, that maybe it's not yours to heal. Maybe that journey is there for a reason. And I'll bring it back to my body, because that's kind of what initiated this conversation with you. The second conversation was that I told you that I was diagnosed with some osteoarthritis in my neck, which is like a degenerative disc disease. And it's what happens to people who get old, which is a privilege, because I'm already older than my mother was before she passed.
Me too.
So, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So, Motherless Daughters Club. But yeah, she was younger than me when she passed of a brain tumor. So yeah. Anyway.
Reach those milestones and you're like, wow, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
I've had so much more life to experience. And then you look at like, I've had those conversations, and sometimes it's like choosing the car. There's two brand new BMWs, and you grab a BMW, and why is your car the one that always has things that have to be fixed? And the other one can go 300,000 miles and not have an issue.
Well, I got the Fiat. You're laughing. You know what that means. So it stands for Fix It Again, Tony. Fiat. I actually did own a Fiat once, a convertible Fiat. So I got the Fiat. So high maintenance over here, Miss High Maintenance. And, you know, ironically, everything that pressed against me when I was younger has actually turned into a blessing. Every health thing that I've experienced, it turns out that all my food sensitivities and food allergies and the ways that I couldn't break bread with other people, literally, or I would go to a restaurant when I was younger and there would be like nothing but lettuce leaves that I could eat on the menu. It was just really hard and alienating, but it turns out that that is probably the diet that I had to adopt to feel good. Is probably one of the most healthful diets and anti-cancer and, you know, so many disease prevention people have said that now that science has caught up to me. So our bodies, you know, we get these vehicles and sometimes we don't think they're perfect, but they may be perfect for us. And so as I go through this diagnosis with this pain in my neck, which is literally a pain in my neck. I've been through so many other health issues in my life that I have the maturity and wisdom now to say, ooh, what am I going to do with this? I'm not saying that I'm grateful for it all the time. And I'm not saying I don't get really upset and pissed off about it sometimes, because it is pretty painful at times. But I also have decided that it's going to take me deeper into my energy healing and practices.
I think so. It's like, remember that's just a piece of you and not to give it all your power, right? I still can do all these other things. And so, but we still have those moments where it's like, but I feel like crap right now and it's ruining my day. That's normal. That's normal.
Honor the feelings. Honor
Right.
the feelings. Like sometimes I have so much pain in my neck that my head is foggy and I can't think straight. And that sucks. You know, that sucks. But then I double down on all the things, you know, all the ergonomics and all of the energy work. And I get through these periods. And, you know, I've decided that I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to, you know, do alchemy. So I'm curious too, for you talk about how you've worked with other people on their healing process. And it sounds so dynamic and so fascinating. And I want to be a part of that movie. And then I'm curious to know how that differs for how you've worked on yourself. Like, do you get to taste any of what you give other people?
Yes. So, if I'm in a group situation, I'm going to feel a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell people, if you don't hear me go through the exact thing that you're dealing with, doesn't mean that it's not being touched. Right. So, let's say I'm going to a private healing session and I am going to feel where those spiritual surgeons are working, where the energy is going. And people feel so bad because they'll hear me go through pain. But it's really a gift, because if I didn't feel it, I wouldn't know what's going on. I would just have to voice it. But really feeling it, it's undeniable. I'm like, oh my gosh, ow, in the middle of my sentence. I just feel them working in the abdomen. You have a blockage here. They're opening this, or wherever it may be. And so many things are happening at one time that I'm voicing everything and voicing what I'm seeing. Sometimes you'll even hear like the nurses or spiritual surgeons drop something in the room. And I used to be so annoyed and go, really? Now I'm like, oh, don't worry about that. If you heard that, that's because, and so it makes me even happier because now there's no way you would have heard that. But yes, to answer your question, I do feel, I do taste, I emotionally feel, I physically feel. And so like most times everybody's going to get an IV, and an IV is to sedate you, to relax you. And I'll taste that medicine immediately. I'm like, it's coming. I'm getting.
So you're saying that in spiritual surgery, they get like a spiritual form of the IV? Oh, how interesting.
And what's so interesting with that is some people will be at work. Some people will be sleeping. Some people, they may not feel anything till they're able to like take that time. Other times people are sitting and I'll be like, well, we didn't start yet. And I'm starting to feel dizzy an hour before. I know they're preparing them.
Interesting.
And so they'll be like, yeah, I was feeling like I had to sleep like or lay down like an hour before you began. I'm like, And it just really kind of all blends and works. And you can see like the magic between it all and how it weaves, because and that's how they feel. They listen to it, go, wait a minute. How did she feel what I was feeling? It comes sometimes down to the point where it's like, oh, I feel a furry animal just came in and laid it next to my leg. And they're like, well, that was my cat. They jumped up on the bed at that time. So we're so connected. And when spiritual surgeons do work, I'll see them, I'll feel them. And God does work through those spiritual surgeons. Somebody asked me this great question. They said, are they always the same spiritual surgeons? And I said, no, because each one has their specialty. And then I heard that I used to work with William Tracy. He was a priest, and he was 103 years old. And he wanted to learn my relationship with God. And so we became really good friends. It was wonderful. And so what I learned is he told me before he passed, he goes, well, this was my gift. I loved doing this work. I'm just going to continue it on the other side. And I said, so spiritual surgeons, now they love their work and they get to do it at a higher level. That, of course, why would they not want to be part and witness and be part of this?
That makes total sense. I just think it's totally seamless. That's kind of my life.
Yeah, moment like, yeah.
So, Deborah, how do you, when you were going through your cancer experience, did you have the spiritual surgeons come into your healing experience in the same way that you have for clients, or was it different, or like healing yourself, or when you were healing?
When I would lay down on the table, there would be times I would feel dizzy, and I just didn't have to, I guess, express that I was receiving an IV. It was just a knowingness. I think I just opened myself up to whatever needs to be done here, right? Usually I was the instrument for the healing. Now I'm just like, okay, here's the body. And I just really let go. I was like, if I'm having a bad day, I need to tell you about it. I'm going to voice it. If I'm unsure, I don't know if it's growing. I don't know if it's healing. I'm trusting. So I'm going to use that word trust today because I'm feeling a little uneasy. I have to go get scans. So when I had to go get scans, I would always say, all right, God, let's show your proof. These are your scans. And you remember my last scan is with scans are kind of scary. You don't know what's going to pop up. Every time I would go into either the scans or into radiation, I'd ask for a white blanket. And the nurses were like, how come we always want a white blanket? Are you always cold? I go, no, it's God's blanket. And they loved that. So the very last time I went for my last one, they cried going, we're not going to put this blanket on you anymore. But they gave it to me. Now I lay on that as on my healing table. Like this was magical. So use what you have. That's a white light. That's a blanket. But I remember going into the scan, and you go through and then it stops as it's scanning the whole abdomen and whatnot. And now I'm on the other side, and I felt two people touch my shoulders. And I was like, who's here with me? I immediately started crying. I felt my parents on both sides of me. And I was like, wow, that makes me feel really, thank you for being here. Thank you for walking with me. And then when I went home, my assistant at the time said, I had this really weird vision that your parents were with you today. And just kind of put it all together. But it's like, when I was in for one radiation treatment, I would get, that was my God time. I used it as my God time. Instead of being fear of being radiation, I'm going to be in here and, okay, God, what do you want to tell me? That's when he told me to build my global gathering called Army for Love. He's like, I want you to build your army around you. Always knowing that I'm in front of you, I'm beside you walking, I'm behind you. If you fall, I'm around to build your army. And so I created this group called Army for Love because those are the terms that God gave me. And now it's a global community where we come together once a month. It's free over Zoom, and we come out of love, and there's no judgments. People can share whatever they want to share, and we're holding each other up. People are now that they would say, I would never, ever talk on any platform. I'm too afraid to talk about anything. They're voicing some of their deepest feelings, and we're all holding each other. And at the top of the hour, I do a free mini healing. And collectively, now we're all open because we've all been there for an hour. We close our eyes just like what you did, and we have that mini healing. And at the end, we're witnessing the miracles that are happened right then and there. Like, it's miraculous. I could tell you so many things of each session, what it brought. And we're all going, what? One girl came last month and said, I had a dream with spirit last night. It was so real. And I don't really connect spiritually, but I was crying. I go, crying tells you it was real. You can't deny that emotion. So I went into that healing, and after the end of the healing, she was crying. She goes, I don't cry easily, but I just have to tell you that what you were seeing was my dream. Like, see, and I always say, well, you can't make this stuff up. Right? So I invite anybody that wants to have a taste of it. Come on to it's the first Tuesday of every month at 3:00 Arizona time, and come experience it. And you don't even have to say anything. You can keep your screen off the entire time and just be present. It's the energy collectively that we're all really bringing to one another. And
did you move the time? Because I feel like I couldn't attend it before, but now you're saying,
well, it's the daylight savings.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe I can finally come because you invited.
That'd be great. Have you in there with your lovely energy, bringing it in?
I love it. Yeah.
So all these different things that people can do can raise their vibration, can help their healing process.
And healing, another takeaway for sure is that healing doesn't always look or feel the way we think it is supposed to. Right? That's come up several times in this conversation. And I think even when I asked you about your experience with cancer and whether the healings happen the same way for you personally, that you versus you being the instrument for others. And what I'm hearing is no. And so I feel like that's just confirmation that it's not always going to look the same way for this, even people, the same person in a different scenario.
Right. And it's like, okay, so here I am as a healer, and I'm getting cancer after I've had 3 NDEs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I was sick and dying once before. I'm like, why? Why this now? Why? Why? And then I was kind of afraid to voice it. Like, I'm a healer and I get cancer?
Oh my God.
What? But that really shows us that we're all human and we don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, no, people need to know that I'm human too. I'm not this person that's all the time.
You just can't, as you can go, aw.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, aw.
It's like, but sometimes people look at you like so differently. And it's like, I am, I put my pants on the same way you do every morning, right? Same thing, same socks, same thing. So but funny. It's life is interesting and it's how we choose to walk through it. And I think the whole reason we're talking about self-care and what we're doing here is to share to others. There's no right or wrong way, but there's so much out there. Don't be afraid to try it. Don't have your walls up because it's like, well, that seems too woo-woo or too foo-foo.
I like to say, don't be afraid to experiment like that. I've always, like my very first book was an experiment. My very first book that was published by traditional publishers was literally a full-on experiment. I had never done what I had tried in that before. Nobody else that I'd known of at that point in time had ever attempted what I was trying to do. I was just making, I like to say MSU, make shit up. I was just making shit up a lot of the time. I mean, I was using some building blocks, obviously, and some frameworks. But, don't be afraid to experiment with different healing modalities and different points of view, try on different philosophical frameworks, even if it doesn't feel good. That's just kind of the rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, and I think too, for anybody out there that's trying, like, feels that they are an energy healer or a healer in some other ways or a medium, they all think that it has to be done a certain way. Oh, I got to learn this.
Right.
And I can remember when I first started my mediumship, you're reading all these different books. And I thought, well, how am I going to do it his way and his way and his way or this way or that way? And I kept hearing, do it your own way. There is no right or wrong way. So if you feel, oh my gosh, I'm going to ask for healing in my hands and I'm going to trust that it's there and I'm going to place it on my body. Trust that you receive and you're doing it for yourself.
Absolutely.
It's just sometimes we need somebody else to help us get to those spaces, but we all have the ability to do some of these things. So if you're questioning, I don't know if I can and I want to, start opening that door, start dabbling and learning it with yourself. But I think the biggest thing is trust. You have to trust what you're receiving. Like you said, you were coming up with a bunch of shit, but you trusted it. You wrote it. You walked through it.
Yeah. And I validated it eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just one big experiment. And so, I follow my joy. I follow what feels good. I take the little bit of inklings of truth that I discover, the little bit of resonances, a little bit of alignment, and I just start to shape a path. And you don't have to do it like anybody else is doing it. I remember when I was studying with an intuitive channel for a while, and I thought that I had to do it the way she was doing it. And the irony, the paradox of that is that I've discovered that I could do it the way that she could do it, that she was doing it. And then I found out when I asked myself and went a little more deeply, if that's how I wanted to do it, it turns out I didn't want to do it that way. So we all have free will. We all, I think, whatever lights us up in the way that it lights us up is spirit. It's God. It's that divine energy working through us in that unique fashion, that unique way that we are built. And so the invitation is to walk through the first door and then the second one, and then just be open to that discovery process, right? There's nothing to lose.
Try it.
There's nothing to lose. Only baggage.
And I think the word that I really like is unique. We are each unique and creative in our own way. That's why there's no perfect way.
Yeah.
You just do it your way. And like you said, you ended up learning her way, but you didn't like it. You tweaked it to be your own way.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And I had to disentangle, as we all do, from the cultural conditioning that said I should. It has to look like this. I have to be one thing. I couldn't be 5 things. And then finally I was just like, permission, fuck it. I want to do all the things. Right? I'm going to be all the things that I want to be. And that worked out much better for me.
Well, just think of it. If it all had to be one way, we would never have all these discoveries.
And life would be so boring.
And how they're finding cures to diseases, right? We have to be creative. We have to be open-minded. And life is a gift, and there's just so many possibilities. And that's why I always say, like, with God, there's endless possibilities.
Well, whatever you've worked on with gratitude recently, Deborah, I feel like it's like coming full circle for you, because I definitely feel that energy coming through you. I definitely feel that, like, wow, I feel so grateful to be alive. I'm just feeling that from you.
So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I did really, I did walk through that. Like, it was a couple of months ago. I was like feeling that way.
Yeah.
And then there came the blessing of writing and producing and walking and sending it to others. So I will have that one available on my website. It was a powerful one. I got a lot of good feedback. But what's beautiful about it is if you're on my newsletter, you get them for free.
There you go. So DeborahMartinHealer.com is your website, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. I think this is a good place to kind of wind up.
I think so too. Like, I just want to thank you, though. Like, it just feels like we're talking. We talked on a very personal level, but in all honesty, right? We're not trying to make something out of something. We're just being, and we were being present in each moment that we were here today from the beginning of your meditation. And I hope those that listened can just be present and receive whatever it is that they were tuned into this for.
Because there's always something. And so if you've made it this far, things occurred for you. Just ask the question. I'm a big fan of asking that question, like literally right now, like what healing just occurred for me just now. I mean, I could name a couple just from our conversation for me personally. So I'm a big fan of asking that question, because it's often how Spirit speaks, through opening up to the questions. So, yeah.
It's really good. I loved everything about it. I love you. I'm grateful to have you in my spirit family. And may our conversations continue. If anybody has an idea of what they would like us to talk about next, I'd be very open to you and me discussing something else.
Absolutely. And I encourage you, all listeners, to leave a comment. And obviously, we are multi-talented individuals, and we could have lots of different conversations. So let's see. Let's ask the question and see what happens. What do you want us to talk about?
We're open.
We're open to it. Open hearts. Thank you so much, Deborah.